Hi, hello, and welcome to another episode of course,
China.
My name is Fernando, and this is
Ziv.
And today we have a very, very special guest. Her name is Roxana Grinvald. And let me tell you something. You want to stay here for the entire length of this podcast. The minute she walked into this office, I was completely blown away by everything she has to say. So, Ziv, why don't you introduce briefly who Anna is?
All right. So Anna, a little bit about your past. You were born in Romania. You grew up in Israel. You had 4 kids. You have 4 kids, and you moved to Thailand, to Chiang Mai, about 15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And then after a couple of years there you moved to China after your husband. But today you're running a business with a lot of different interesting parts in it.
Correct.
Right. Thank you for being here.
No problems. My pleasure.
So, if you are interested in innovation, sustainability, entrepreneurship, stay tuned because this is going to be a very, very good one. All right. So, Ziv, why don't we start with the questions? You started your education where exactly?
I started my education in Israel.
Okay.
I did my bachelor degree in international business management.
Mm-hmm.
I did my master degree in business administration. And then after I left Israel, I started my PhD in business administration,
Okay.
which I finished 1 year after I arrived to China.
Okay.
All right. And so you studied in Israel you studied, you said, international business.
International business management.
Why did you choose that? At a younger age, why did you choose that? What made you?
Well, I wanted to study criminology.
Criminology, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But my father said no way.
Okay.
And since he paid for 4 years of university ahead, he chose the subject.
Well, sounds like Chinese people.
Sounds like my
Yeah.
father.
Yeah.
This is Romanian father. No way you're studying this.
But looking back now, was it good?
Yes,
Okay.
I think he made a good choice for me.
All right. And then you already kind of an entrepreneur in a younger age, right? Like in Israel, you had a few kids.
Yeah.
And
This is a big entrepreneur for kids.
that is
It's
entrepreneurship.
a big business.
It's true. You have 4 kids, right?
Yeah.
And then what was your first business? First business you opened?
My first business was a Jeep tour.
A Jeep tour. Okay.
Yeah. To Jordan, in Israel, in the
Right.
desert.
Yeah.
And this came by my husband wanted to buy a Jeep, a Defender.
Okay.
And we took a loan to buy it.
Okay.
And then got a promotion at work.
Okay.
And the Jeep was standing there and no use. So I said, okay, I can do a course and do it. I did it for 8 years. in
8
Israel.
years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you gave tours by Jeep.
Yeah.
Where? Which part of Israel?
In the south of Israel.
South of
Mostly
Israel.
in the south.
Okay.
And some in the north,
Okay.
in Ramat Golan mountain.
Okay.
And I even did 3 or 4 tours to Jordan.
You drove?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Up to how many people were you bringing in the Jeep? 5 people?
7 people. It was
7
the long
people.
Defender.
I love them.
Me too.
Don't get
When
into
I left
cars.
Israel, I cried only because of that. When I sold
Right.
the Jeep, I cried.
And that wasn't your only business in Israel.
No.
What was next?
I had a bar.
You had a bar.
Yeah.
Right. How was the bar business?
It was very good. We did it in a different way.
Okay.
It was in Carmiel, Israel, in the north. And I tried to think of a different aspect of it. Like it was more like a community.
Okay.
So we had some small parties.
Okay.
People could arrange and talk and be barmen for a night.
Was it in the kibbutz or?
No. It was in Carmiel. also.
In Carmiel.
In Carmiel,
okay,
in the
okay.
city, but most of our customers were from the kibbutzim around.
Okay. And
And I closed it because I got pregnant 9 months and I couldn't do it anymore.
your fourth child.
Yeah.
All right. I see.
So not a stay-at-home mom at all.
Well, no. My kids used to get sandwiches to school, and they will never forgive me for that. Like I used to take a chocolate bar, put in
In between two
breads, and tell them it's okay, it will melt on the way. It never melted.
You're watching. Yeah.
I know they're watching, but
This is chocolate
this is-
sandwich.
Well, mommy is busy running a business, Yeah.
yeah.
That's funny.
awesome.
And they
And
told
then-
me that it's never melted.
So then you, why did you move to Chiang Mai in Thailand? What year was that?
It was 2007.
Okay.
There was the second war of Lebanon in Israel,
Okay.
and our house was bombed twice in the yard. And I said, okay, statistically, I have 3 boys and 1 girl. I'm not in a good situation if my kids stay in Israel.
Army.
Yeah.
Right.
And I decided, it's not so patriotic to say, but I was an officer in the army, in the Navy.
Okay.
But when you have kids, you look on things differently,
Yeah.
not the same.
3 boys. Yeah.
And when you have 3 boys and you know they are all healthy and they're
They
going
will
to
be
be
drafted.
fighters, you
Everybody
think
is
differently.
drafted, Fernando. Everybody is drafted, but healthy boys go to be fighters.
Fighters.
Oh, okay.
So front lines,
Yeah.
Okay.
right? Yeah, when I was a kid, right? The stories. When I was a kid, my mom, my grandparents would tell me, well, by the time you are 18, we wouldn't need army. It will be okay. There will be peace. But I think by now we know this is not so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I decided I want to leave Israel. So I came to my husband and I told him, listen, I'm not staying here. Like, you can come or you can stay, but I'm not staying here with 3 boys.
Well, 2 bombs in the yard. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And he went to his boss and he told him that unfortunately he has to leave. And his boss offered him a job to keep him in China.
Oh, how come?
Okay.
What was that? What was that position? What was the profession? Your husband's?
He is plastic injection engineer.
Okay.
So he knows materials and molds. And
So the company was already working with
the company
China?
already worked with China, builds molds here.
Whereabouts in China was he working?
Here
In Dongguan.
Dongguan, Shenzhen, around here.
Okay.
So he offered him the job, and when we talked to people didn't know China then. So all of them told me that, what, you going to China, it's very expensive, and if you're not living in a very expensive place, you're living in the garbage, like you don't have anything. So I spoke with my best friend, Annie, and she told me, come to Chiang Mai. I live here already 18 years. It's a very nice place. There are very good schools. And I moved there, and he moved to China. And he was on the way, in between, every 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
South of
Coming to
China
visit.
to Chiang Mai.
Apparently, it was not so close like
Right.
we thought.
Right. Did you come here to visit him while he was working here?
No.
No. Okay. So you stayed in Chiang Mai with the kids.
Yes, I was busy working there.
So again, so you moved to Chiang Mai as a housewife, supposedly,
Yeah,
but
but I found a great job.
okay.
I was doing all the marketing to Chiang Mai government for the bilingual schools.
Okay.
And I was busy. The kids were very happy. So for 2 years, actually, I didn't came to China.
Oh, okay. So the kids in the international school in Chiang Mai, and you're working with the government in Chiang Mai. So you're happy. It
Yeah.
sounds like you're happy when you're working, when you're doing something productive.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So then why didn't you stay there? You moved here after all.
I
To
moved
China.
here because I realized that it's important to be together. More
Okay,
than
right.
a job, more than being happy there, and life is good there.
Okay, I'll have a quick question, because when somebody says that China is expensive, back in those days, that doesn't register in my head.
Right. It's true. It's a bit weird, right?
Yeah, that
Expensive.
somebody tells you, oh, China's expensive. Probably Thailand is a little bit cheaper, but China was not necessarily expensive. Perhaps with 4 children, it would be expensive.
What did they mean? The schools? What did they mean?
And what was your
Honestly,
impression? Sorry, and what was your impression when you came to China? Did you feel it was expensive?
No. When I decided to move and I came to China, I didn't felt it's expensive. It was more or less the
Similar.
prices in Thailand.
Yeah.
Right.
The houses in Thailand are better. Like it's a private house with the same price of an apartment here. The only thing that scared me is the amount of people. Like the first visit
China?
in China, I was in Shenzhen. I tried to look for houses in Shenzhen. And at 12 o'clock, I was like shocked. I never saw so many people on my life. Like I grew up in a small
Sea
city.
of heads.
How old were the kids at that time when you were thinking when you're moving to China?
Yossi was 18.
Right.
That's why he moved after,
was the-
because he was already in university
the oldest
studying
one,
there.
right?
So he stayed there to finish his university, and he moved after 2 years.
So he's still in Thailand. Okay.
Yeah. Amit was in grade 10,
Okay.
Shai in grade 9,
So teenagers.
and Guy was 6 years old.
Right. So you had all kind of ages. Right.
Yeah.
And so you moved to China, and I remember that how I met you.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So yeah, it's 2007, I guess, 8,
Yeah.
something like that, and 12 years ago or more. And I was in Dongguan, and I got a phone call. It was a no caller ID. It was a number I couldn't recognize, and I answered. And this lady is talking to me in Hebrew. It was you, and saying, "I'm Anna. I saw your name in the magazine." In the Here magazine, your name is Ziv Glickman. Yes, you are from Israel, right? I got your phone number somehow. I just moved here. Come for coffee. And it was so blunt, but you know, Israelis are quite like that. Not everybody. And I think I came the same day or the next day.
The same day.
Yeah,
I
same
didn't give
day.
you a choice.
Yes, you know, you say I'm in Newell Garden or something, and I came, and that's how we met. You know.
He was so shocked. Like, okay, I'm coming.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So very, very proactive. You're very proactive, yes. Which is nice. So you moved to China, 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so you move here with the kids. What do you do when you move to China with kids? They have 3 kids, school age, 2 teenagers. One is starting first grade.
Probably primary, yeah.
Yeah.
Primary.
How did you find the school? What back then was even different than now, but.
I was very lucky that one of the owners of the factories that Ron worked with, first of all, he introduced me to Dongguan, because
Okay.
when I saw Shenzhen, it was almost a breaking deal that I'm staying in Chiang Mai.
But you know, but by the
But
way,
then I arrived to Dongguan.
we spoke about the expense, the being expensive China. Maybe when they say it, maybe they thought of Shanghai,
Shanghai, Beijing,
Shenzhen.
Shenzhen, and being
That
more
is more
expensive than
expensive,
Dongguan.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So you were looking, you didn't like Shenzhen.
No.
Okay.
And then I went to a factory with Ron,
Mm-hmm.
my husband, and the owner told me, why you are looking for apartment in Shenzhen? Come and see Dongguan. It's amazing. I didn't need to see a lot. I was here I told him, okay, let's wait for lunchtime and take me there. I wanted to see the amount of people on the streets.
So you came to Dongcheng to check it
I
out?
came to Dongcheng because Dongcheng had a QSI, international school. So he
Right.
told me that there is also an international school. And I saw no people on the street at 12:30. No people on the street.
Everybody was napping, probably.
At 1, sidewalks that you can walk freely.
Mhm.
And I said, okay, I'm moving here. On the same day, I found from Here magazine a real estate agent. I sent her an email. I told her exactly what I want. When we arrived, the first house we saw, we moved in.
That's how you
This
got
is
my
it.
phone number, huh? From
Yeah.
the real estate agent, probably. Okay.
No,
No?
from the magazine.
He's still trying
I
to
think
figure it
The
out.
No.
phone number.
The
Probably
phone
from
number,
the
yeah.
real estate.
Yeah.
So same day you found a place. Okay. Did you know that you want to put your kids in the international school? Because this is something that some people move to China with kids. It's something very, very important for families. I guess the teenagers, there's no way they have to go to international schools, right? But if your youngest son Guy was 6, there was a choice to put him in a Chinese school or not really.
If I would do things differently, I think I made a mistake that I didn't put him in a Chinese school.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Why didn't you? You just the other kids?
He wanted to follow his brother and sister.
Right.
So it was the easier choice.
Right.
But for his future, I think it was much
Would have been
smarter
better
to put him in.
for the Chinese
In
language.
terms of
Chinese.
developing language
Yeah.
abilities. And
Even all of them can speak Chinese, and
Right.
Guy, most of his friends are Chinese.
But he could have had better Chinese,
Yeah.
you mean? Okay.
All right. So you definitely not a stay-at-home mom. You got to Dongguan, and what did you start doing?
Well, the first week, I volunteered already to the women organization, International Women Organization.
Uh-huh.
The women's club, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was then a small women club,
Right.
and I volunteered there just to keep myself occupied.
And to network. And,
Yeah. Then I found a job.
mhm.
I got a job offer in a company that is working with Chiang government.
Mhm.
They tried to change the Mold Association to be international one. So I did all the business plan for them. It's called HMAD.
Mhm.
It's fall down in the higher government because that days they didn't want to have international members
Mhm.
in the association. This is how I got to the plastic injection industry,
Okay.
actually,
But your husband is in the plastic injection industry,
for
right?
more than 30 years.
So he's a very technical guy, not a business guy.
Not a business guy at
He's an
all.
engineer, technical,
Yeah.
right? So did you know anything about plastic injection from him? I guess.
Well, I knew the words, the wording,
Yeah,
Right.
the terminology.
the terminology, but I didn't know exactly what it means.
Okay.
I learned with the time.
Right. Right. What pushes you to keep doing that? I mean, I know it's you like to be busy, right? You're not a person obviously that sit at home and watch TV, I guess, right? But what else? What else? Because it seems that it was Jeep, it was a bar, it was working with
with
the
the
government,
Chiang Mai government.
in Chiang Mai, and then now here with what keeps you going? Well, it's a different subjects, but like, what?
I think curiosity is the strongest thing I have.
Okay.
I'm not a person to sit in an office and do the same thing over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to learn things. Learning is
You like to know things.
power for me.
Okay.
The more you learn, the more you know. The more
Knowledge. Yeah.
knowledge is powerful, equal
Right.
power, my opinion. So I think this is what's driving me to try things. And I go to a stage now that I really want to do what I believe in.
Right. So you're not afraid to try things, obviously.
No.
Right. So after that, you were working with Shannon and it didn't go through.
What did you move on to?
Yeah.
Then I opened my own business,
Doing what?
plastic injection molding.
Okay.
It started, our slogan of the company was "Your eyes in China,"
Your eyes in China.
because I realized through my work in the Mold Association that many companies actually don't trust the Chinese companies when they work from overseas. And they need someone to supervise and to tell them the real situation as it is.
Yeah.
So that should just to give a bit of a brief to some audience watching this, listening, and don't really know technical things. People in the West, they consume stuff, but they don't understand. Some of them don't understand. Plastic injection is for basically everything that's made out of plastic. So it's like everything. You go to the store, everything you see.
Starting with the TVs at home, with
Right.
your phones, with chairs, tables, technical things, electricity boxes.
Everything.
Yeah,
is-
everything is made out of
Yeah.
plastic.
Everything
plastic
is made
injection.
out of plastic.
Right.
Durability, weight, and electricity, no issues. So everything is
Right.
the many features.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So you started that company, Plastic Injection. So like your eyes in China. you
Your
said.
eyes in China. Yeah.
So it's kind of like a lot of trading companies, but not just trading. This is specifically.
It was not trading
Yeah.
because the customers communicated directly to the factories. We were their engineering
Oh,
office.
okay.
So we took care actually of all the things that they are far. It saved cost of traveling to China,
Right.
of visas, and they knew the actual situation in
On the
daily
ground.
basis.
So finally, your perfect family business
Yeah,
because your husband is the engineer.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, it started by me representing the company that he already worked in.
Okay.
And then more companies joined
Okay.
on the same basis.
Okay.
Moving forward, okay. During the preparation for this show, we were talking about you started working with shoe companies.
Yes.
Okay, what were you doing and who were you working for, and how did you get to that?
We did a lot of accessories and slides for Coach
Mm-hmm.
in the last 2017, 2018,
So 3 years almost.
3 years, yeah. But then we stopped. We stopped because I decided that I'm going to go after what I believe in.
Okay, and that's what really caught my attention when we started doing the preparation. How would you word it? What is it that you believe in, and what did you do the things that you do to go after those?
I believe in a good future for our kids and next generations.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're doing now, I think we're destroying our world by our own hands. And basically, by producing shoes, I understood the level of damage only from the fashion industry. There are many other industries, but because I worked there in both industries, plastic and fashion,
Right.
I understood the level of damage we are doing to our world.
Yeah.
I would say working in plastic, you work with plastic a lot, so you see this.
So you can see how many waste there is.
Right.
And you realize that things need to be changed. And not in 10 years, now. Because in 10 years, it will be too late.
Okay. So what did you do after working with Coach? You mentioned earlier that you decided to stop working with them, and what did you do then?
I started developing a whole line of production from scrap materials.
Scrap
Different-
materials.
Different materials. The main material is leather because we are doing footwear.
Mm-hmm.
So the main scrap material we use is leather. But we also use denim, we also use cotton, we also use fur, not real fur, but
Yeah.
because I'm
everything-
against it, but
Everything that the companies throw
throwing
away,
away, we collect
you pick it up
and we redesign it.
and you make fashion
Yeah,
from that.
yeah.
Wow.
You mentioned something, Ziv, that I did not know,
Yes.
but your factory where you make these products has zero waste.
Zero waste.
Listen, zero waste, and that was by design.
Yes.
That was your objective, your goal. Everything was planned, done, executed, and geared towards getting to a factory that makes fashion, makes shoes with zero waste. Now, please expand, because this is just, to me, extremely interesting.
Okay. The whole idea was to have zero waste, to work in a circular economy way, and to consume everything, all the waste, to 100%. The problem was, the main difficulty that we had is design, because sometimes you collect the scrap, you produce, but you still have scrap. And then you produce another product and you still
There is
have
always
scrap.
some waste.
There is always some waste.
Some remains.
Yeah.
Yeah, remains. Right.
At the end, we came in with an idea of, wait a moment, maybe we can use it with the plastic, like a mixture. The first answer I got, no way. Leather burns.
Can't be done.
Can't be done. Plastic injection machine needs at least 120 degrees. And leather burns.
Yeah.
Said, okay, let's try. Different way, different techniques. And we found a way that now we are injecting and making outsoles made of recycled plastic material with all the waste we have after finishing our products, grained and put into the outsole.
So you're mixing plastic and leather,
Yes.
and you're able to inject it to turn it to a point where it can be injected and molded like if it were just plastic.
Yes.
So that way you eliminated all the remains, all the waste.
All the waste.
So
And you mentioned that this is patented?
Yes. This is
Okay.
patented.
so basically, you get the scrap, you make stuff, you have scrap of the scrap, you make more things, you make scrap of the scrap of the scrap, you inject it with plastic, and you make outsoles.
Yeah.
And that's how you get
Zero waste.
zero. This is very interesting. Yeah.
I watched a TED Talk. I don't know, perhaps you've seen it. A guy called Plastic Mike. So he developed a way to recycle plastic, which is very difficult to do. And there's a lot of sorting of different kinds of plastic, and then they're gonna like melt it and turn it into pellets, and then they sell it to people who make all the plastic. Where do you get your scrap? Because he said, like, I get it for free. I just go to places that are really working with scrap plastic, and that's where he gets his stuff. What about you? Where do you source your scrap plastic, scrap leather?
The scrap leather we get from one of the biggest tanneries in Dongguan, Simona. The scrap plastic, I don't need to outsource. We are a factory that making also plastic injection molds. So we use all the reject parts. Yes, it's different materials. We need to separate them. All the process is the same, and we get it for free.
Basically, whatever somebody paid you to produce creates scrap, and that's what you use over here.
So the scrap leather also comes from the tanneries that sell leather to the fashion industry, right? To big name, big name brands.
Yes.
And they sell them leather in pieces as requested, and then they have the scraps from the big piece to make the shoes.
And they get a hide.
I think this is a lot of education
Right.
to the brands. Like, need to educate them, because like I told you before, I don't like the word sustainability.
Right.
Like
Oh, this is interesting.
In every website of any big brand, or you see sustainability, but what does it mean?
Right.
No one is actually looking at it as it is. Sustainability is responsibility. So I use the word responsibility, because it's not only about the product.
Right.
It's about the people that work with you.
All right. Let's expand on this right after the break.
Sure. All right. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back with Anna to talk a little bit more about this idea of sustainability that she doesn't like. All right. And we are back with Anna. And right now it's time for our very popular game, This or That. So, Ziv, why don't you explain to Anna how the game works, and then we go with the first question.
We're going to have questions for you with two choices. Very simple. And then you need to pick one and explain why you picked it. All right? So, Fernando, you go ahead with the first one.
Because of the information that you have given us already, I want to ask you, working with your husband, working with family, is it easy or hard?
Hard.
Why? I work with my wife, and I agree with you.
It's a hard one. You start with the hard one. Okay.
Yeah.
Hard.
Hard.
Why mostly?
Because you need to balance the private life with work. This is the main reason, I think. Because at work, we go separately. Like, I run the businesses in the factories for production.
Yeah.
Or that maybe because it's hard, but you're still making it. That's where, good things come from. Yeah. All right. Next one. Business or pleasure?
Both.
Both.
Balance.
Balance again.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
But how do you balance it? How do you find balance between business and pleasure?
I have fun when I work.
Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's giving me pleasure to go to work.
Okay.
I do the same when I'm in the classroom. If I'm not having fun, the kids are not having fun. I'm a teacher, by the way.
That is one of the keys for life, and then you don't feel like you're working.
Yeah.
It's all pleasure, right?
Yeah.
Okay, my next question also comes from some of the preparation that we've done. So I'm going to poke into some of the things that you've said. Me Too movement or too much Me Too? Are you familiar with the Me Too movement?
No,
The
Feminism.
movement? Yeah?
You know.
too much.
Too much Me Too.
Too much Me Too.
Could you elaborate?
I think this movement is forgetting that we're losing the charm of a woman. Like, I believe, like, okay, a woman can do anything,
Mm-hmm.
but she shouldn't do anything. She shouldn't do everything.
Yeah.
Like, I believe in that a man should pay for dinner when he takes you out.
Uh-huh.
I believe that a man should carry the groceries if it's heavy. I believe that a man should open the door to the car when you enter.
That's the way I was raised. So
Right,
maybe it's a
right.
generational thing.
I
Right.
believe it's nice to get flowers from time to time. I believe that every woman likes a compliment.
And that can be an
So-
issue nowadays.
I
Yeah.
agree with you, but I think society lost the balance of
The balance.
of common sense.
Mm.
We go
Exactly.
about these things. Okay, next one. Plastic or paper?
Plastic.
Plastic. You do plastic.
Yes.
How do you explain the plastic is less damaging to the environment?
Less damaging to the environment.
Okay. Why?
Because plastic you can recycle 100%.
Okay.
Paper, even if you say you're recycling paper, you still need to add some new material,
Alright.
raw material.
And we will talk about it more later.
Okay. I follow with a question about fashion. When it comes to fashion, which one do you like better? Do you prefer Paris or New York?
I never been to New York, so Paris.
Oh, okay.
This is you kind of stealing my question, Fernando.
So
A couple of them, but okay. I will ask it more general. Europe or US?
I never been to US, so
Ah,
Europe.
really? You never been to the US?
No,
Wow, that's surprising. But and you have a few kids studying in Europe, so
in Europe.
so definitely Europe for you.
Okay. Good. The next one, a little bit easier. PC or Mac when it comes to computers?
I'm not a technology person.
What do you use?
I use Mac because my son said you should use Mac. It's easier for you because it's a computer that whatever is installed inside, you just need to know how to operate it. Like
You don't
it's
need to
less
worry about
smarted-
Extra
less
things.
smarter than
Yeah.
others.
Yeah, more user friendly. I think you mean.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ocean or mountains?
Mountain by the ocean.
This will be good. Mountains.
Mountains. You prefer the mountains?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And let me finish up with a business question. When you're doing business, do you prefer to call or text or email?
Call.
Call.
Easiest way.
Well, I got the feeling from the way that you guys meant that calling
And
is
one
your
last
thing.
one for me would be Gucci or Prada?
None.
None.
No.
That's an interesting answer. All right.
All right, guys. So this was This or That with Anna Roxana Grinvald. Okay, so let's continue talking about this idea that you were presenting to us, that you don't like the term sustainability. You like the idea of responsibility. And during the preparation, we talked about how I mentioned that I feel that a lot of brands have prostituted the term sustainability. It's just something that they say to be politically correct and to be kind of like accepted, but they continue with practices that are far from sustainable. So would you elaborate a little bit on how you came to the conclusion that sustainability was not your thing?
Because I can see a lot as part of many groups in the fashion. I see the fashion brands, they really want to change the world. They really want to do something, but it's not coming into actions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, like what we are doing now with the scrap materials. Like if every company will use the same method, we will reduce the amount of garbage in the world by milliards,
Yeah, it will be.
billions, like crazy. So, for my opinion, sustainability is a word. And what you do, the actions you are doing, this is the responsibility. So I don't use the term sustainability. Like my products are made of scrap material, made by a technique of circular economy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm responsible because I treat my workers well, I treat my suppliers fair, and I treat my customers fair.
So
To
there
produce, I think it goes until the end of the customer. Because you cannot say I'm sustainable and to produce a product that costs $20 and you sell it with $500, $600. This is not sustainability.
Yeah.
more right.
So
You also
that's why I'm saying the responsibility is from you until the end customer, like from the suppliers until the end customer.
I agree. You also did something that's quite interesting when I first heard about it, was that you started working on, you started thinking about the boxes where the shoes go in when they're shipped. What's the story of this development, and where did it take you? Where are you now with this
Right, this
particular idea?
this new material that you're using.
Well, by being in producing footwear for 3 years, I saw the amount of shoe boxes that we need for one collection, one brand. There are many brands in the world, and there are many customers, so it means there are billions of boxes that arrive to people home and getting thrown to the garbage.
One-time use.
One-time use. We experiment with a material that called stone plastic
Mm-hmm.
3-4 years ago for an Israeli company that building greenhouses, and we use this material to do the greenhouses poles because it's photodegradable,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's make it much easier. They don't need to take apart the greenhouse. They just take the plastic sheet away, and the pole in 6 months is already
Turning degraded. For people who are watching and maybe are not too technical, the idea of photodegradable means that just by UV light
lights.
will decompose this stone plastic.
You say it's about 20 to 25 months.
Completely to
Yes.
decompose. But
And-
after 6 months, it's already degrade.
Okay, but 20 to 25 months, it disappears.
Disappears already. No microplastics release in the world.
What is the composition of the stone plastic?
80% calcium carbonate, which is the biggest and the resource material of the world. Non-limited. This is the correct word.
Yeah.
It's non-limited resource of Earth, and 20% plastic.
Again, let's explain a little bit to simplify things. This is just rocks and stones.
80%.
Any rock.
Can provide calcium carbonate. And the idea, because we were discussing about unlimited or non-limited, is you could refurbish rock. For example, if you build a new building or if you build a new road or a new dam, that rock can be reused because it's going to provide calcium carbonate.
Yeah.
So that's the idea of non-limited resource, which is it just blows my
So
mind.
I want to also further explain because I think it's very hard to understand on in a minute explanation. And so first of all, there is 20% plastic in it, but something happens because of the chemical reaction.
The chemical reaction change the way the plastic behaves,
Yes.
and when it's degrade, only calcium carbonate left in Earth.
So that's remarkable. So you use plastic, but it doesn't behave like plastic. Regular plastic, it takes how long to?
Centuries.
Centuries. That's
Centuries.
crazy. And
What
also,
what about this kind of plastic? How long does it take? Is the same 20 to 25?
yeah, it's together.
Months?
It's together. It's a mixture.
The
Lord.
chemical reaction makes it together, and the whole material is gone in 25 months.
I'm acting like the listener or the viewer out
Right,
there who doesn't
right.
understand,
It's
so
hard
wants
to-
to know.
The raw material,
So this is plastic that gets decomposed in 20,
pallets?
25
Yes.
months. Wow.
the pallets now are made of 80% calcium carbonate and 20% HDP,
Yeah, high density
polyethylene.
And what blows the mind, I think, most of all for me, because I've heard this before from Anna, is that, okay, imagine you replace those shoe boxes I mean, that's just one kind of box. I mean, imagine you replace any appliance box that comes to your home. You don't just recycle paper to make more boxes. You don't need to cut any trees.
No,
Yeah, you were telling us something about that. When you have cardboard boxes,
Yeah.
right? You could recycle some to some extent, but you were telling us that the amount of trees saved is very
So
low.
maybe to make it more clear, like you start with how many trees you need to cut to make boxes.
1 ton of recycled paper save only 17 trees.
How many trees you need to make 1 ton first?
Thousands.
Thousands of trees to
Yeah.
make 1 ton.
And then you save only 17 trees.
to
If you
recycle it.
recycle
To
paper.
recycle.
Yes,
So
And you cut more trees because you have to
Mix.
add and mix
new paper.
new paper.
Right.
you pulp into the mix.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, when we are sold the idea of sustainability, recycle, and it's sold to us like the magical solution to cutting trees, and we don't go deeper into this issue. Only when we talk to somebody like Anna,
Right,
doing like,
right.
it's not that great.
Right.
Yeah, better than nothing.
It
but
slows it down,
but it's
but-
not the solution.
Right. It's
All right. I wanted to talk about, because we also talked about the strength of this material. It's quite strong. So you were telling us, giving us some example of the things that you make also with this material.
We did a chair.
A chair,
Yeah.
furniture.
You can do anything with the material.
it's strong.
It's very strong. It's high density material, so it's stronger than the normal boxes. It's anti-water,
Yeah, water resistant. or
water
repellent.
resistance.
Is it light?
It's light, yeah. Like if you compare a shoebox, if you put on a weight the normal shoebox and our shoebox, it's lighter by 20%.
So
So
shipping.
it's cheaper for shipments.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's stronger, so you can put more things in it. Again, not just shoes.
yeah,
For other products, is no
Yeah.
problem.
yeah.
It's
We can
actually
do.
stronger.
We did shipping boxes from it.
Right.
And this is something that you okay, I might be confused, but this is something that you patented also?
The material we cannot patent because the material exists in the market.
Okay.
We patent it as a box.
Okay.
We patent it
boxes.
using this material in different boxes, not only shoe boxes, different kind of boxes.
How about usually, I mean, I met some people doing similar things, environmental things in the past, and packaging. And one issue that I found was always it's a bit too expensive. How about the prices?
The prices are similar to normal box.
So similar to normal box.
Competitive.
Yeah, very competitive.
Very
it's
competitive.
not more. It's more difficult to do.
To make.
Yeah. And I think this is the main problem of the sustainability in the world.
The
difficult.
It's
output.
difficult
They
to
don't
do.
have the know-how. They're used to do
Yeah.
the same things.
Yeah.
Right. The
What
people are not
is-
trained.
What is the path for you and this idea and this product? What is your vision with this product?
My vision is with this product to replace every box in Earth, not to cut any more trees. Because by cutting trees, we're not only cutting the tree. There are animals that dying because
Yeah.
of that. There are many other losses to Earth. And by using this material, you don't need to do it anymore. Or you can do it much less. Because there will always be the people that will say, okay, I want to use paper box.
I want to play the role of the devil's advocate. Again, it's something that we talked in preparation. Revolutionary ideas that are designed or able to change the world, they experience a lot of resistance from existing businesses, from existing business models. So think about the electric car and what Elon Musk had to face. We've had electric cars in the 1950s, but the oil interests, well, they blocked this idea from going on. You could think, for example, what's happening right now with the Impossible meat. If you guys are not familiar, it's a meat that it's just made of vegetables, but it tastes and cooks and feels like meat, exactly. So whenever somebody is trying to change the status quo, there are a lot of interests that are going to be disrupted and are going to be opposed to it. Have you encountered these obstacles already at this stage? Are people?
Yes.
How do you handle that, and how do you circumvent those?
Well, we're still in the process to think how to handle that. There is no reason to resist it, but because it's on the same price of we. Let's start like this. We presented the box to different companies,
Big brand, yeah.
big brands,
Yeah.
and we offer them to replace their own boxes with this box because
It's a better option.
much better option, and it's cheaper for them at the end because since it's more lighter, the cost of freight is much less unless you ship it by sea. So it's the same. You pay per container.
Volume.
And we got different reactions. Some of them involve like a very big issue in the world that buyers are used to buy from the same supplier for many years. Sorry.
It's okay.
And have benefits. Like to use...
That's the nicest word I've ever heard for a bribe.
Yeah. So you mean there is
so they don't want to change the supplier.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
And this is, I think, one of the biggest stones that we're trying to pass, using my words.
Right.
And the other thing is that people don't know the material.
That's perhaps one of the most important things that I came to realize is like when you have something so innovative, so disruptive to the market, one of the biggest challenges made it to make it publicly available so that people start putting pressure on industries to do the right thing, to follow something that is much better for the environment. So this particular podcast right here is very, very small. Hopefully will be very big at one point, but is a very small step in that direction, letting people know that there is something out there that we should all be pushing for.
I mean, try to put ourselves in their shoes. I mean, part of it, I think we can understand. If there is let's say the box coming out tomorrow, all the big brands are changing to it. There are probably a lot of people losing their jobs.
yes.
Okay, it cannot happen right away, right?
And we don't want it to happen right
But
away.
what I mean is that some of the reasons we can understand, I think, with everything. But, you know...
if it will not happen right away, actually, it's better. Because the other factories that used to work with paper can change
Right, that's what I
on
wanted
the
to get
process.
into.
Yes, I
You
mean,
need to change training of current businesses that they don't just perish, you know, and maybe they can use this and change with it, and then it's more reasonable solution and probably more likely to happen, and in the end, change the world.
Exactly.
The way that I see it is I go back to electric cars, right? One of the things that Elon Musk did, and I'm not suggesting that it's something that you should do, is that he made his technology open source.
Right.
So anybody can copy it. So now you see legacy automakers all moving into the electric vehicle space. So you got Mercedes-Benz, you got Audi, you got BMW. Everybody's starting to make electric vehicles because it's like, this is better.
Right.
Better performance, better for the environment, blah, blah, blah. So let's follow that new trend that has
Exactly.
been created. So
Right.
somebody had to start with the trend. But the fact that he created this technology via open source kind of like it disarms the challenges. It disarms the resistance.
But the stone box, we call it stone box, and the stone plastic is also open source. We don't have a patent on the material.
Yeah.
The material exists for many years. You can use it as a powder. What we did differently, we tried to recycle also the stone. Like we collected waste of construction sites and took out the calcium carbonate out of it.
And this is done, I mean, to think about the application, because we're talking about all the theory and the model, but this is something that you do in China.
Yeah,
You get rocks from construction,
yeah. And we're doing it in China. So the material is open source. You just need to have the willing to change,
Yeah.
to think not on today, to think about the future. And this is something that we all need to do together.
This is so let's say tomorrow 1 billion shoeboxes are changing from card boxes, paper, to this material. There is, even though it's unlimited, like you said, there need to be more mining of stone, right? Probably. So
Probably, but calcium carbonate is non-limited resource.
But can the people cutting trees, lumberjacks, change the job to that? You know, you need to think about the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? To make it more reasonable for everybody to accept.
Well, we talk, for example, about the development of Dongguan. Sorry that I interrupt you for a second. The farmlands that were used for developing gardens, all the farmers that were there were now employed as gardening the roads. And that's why we see very beautiful roads around Dongguan, because those farmers now take care of those gardens.
Right.
So yeah, it's
to give them a path.
correct.
Right.
An option.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
And there is an option. And even if we start with 30% of the boxes in the world, it's a big achievement.
Right.
Because later it can grow and people have the time to adapt to the change.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like
Excellent.
business owners can change their business and focus
Right.
to
But
this
also,
material.
also you're trying, I mean, this material is another aspect of it, from what I know. It's an FDA approved already.
Yes.
Right? You can make food packaging.
Any box, any packaging.
Right. Which is also another
Yeah, I mean,
it's maybe bigger than shoes. I mean, I
think
don't know.
about McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah, think about the pizza parlors,
It's almost,
pizza shops.
I don't know if it is, but it might be bigger than shoes even. I mean, if you think about it, food, right? So, and people are even throwing it more than they throw shoes boxes away.
Yes.
Yeah.
So women still keep some shoe boxes at home.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
would say.
some of them they keep them
Nobody
in the
keeps
boxes.
the McDonald's box,
No.
Yeah.
right? So, so it really can go anywhere.
Can go anywhere.
It's quite mind-blowing, I
Well,
would say.
the whole business
I
of
did
packaging.
the samples on shoe boxes because I have the connections to the brand and I
Right.
wanted to show them and prove them what is the difference and why they should change.
Right,
But you can use it for anything.
right.
This is fantastic.
Like we used it now, we did, even in injection, in plastic injection, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Because this board is made usually by extrusion.
Mm-hmm.
But we tried the same material in a plastic injection for a part, and it came out perfectly. So even parts like that you don't want them to last forever,
Yeah.
and you want the customers to buy more, what we used it is like a spray protector for women hair color.
Uh-huh.
That we know that I cannot say the brand, it's a big brand,
Yeah.
but we know that the brand wants to sell as many as possible as this. Instead of using plastic, we gave them samples, but then the COVID-19 started.
Okay.
So we didn't go ahead with this. But I offered them, I said, look, you want to sell as many as possible. Don't make it from plastic, please. I don't want to do it from plastic. Let's try this material. And if it works, so at least I have
Right.
a quiet conscience when a woman throw it away.
That is going to be
It's-
biodegradable.
So it's not
photodegradable. and-
Photodegradable.
So it doesn't only replace card boxes; it replaces plastic in
Yeah.
some
in some things,
products.
In some
That was one of the
products.
things that impressed me the most the first time that I came to China. The amount of plastic that you see when you take the train,
Right.
all over the
Everywhere,
roadside, all over
Yes.
the railroads is plastic.
So you could make the bottles. You can make these cups.
Yeah,
You could do that,
yeah,
and then it's 20-25 months. It's gone.
yeah.
Right. This is. Do people think? I mean, factory suppliers. You work with brands. You suggest this. You talk about this. Anyone ever look at you a bit like you're crazy?
At the beginning, yes.
Yeah.
At the beginning,
And
yes.
it takes you time to explain
and then
everything.
takes time to explain and to show and to prove, and
Right.
so
And
then they will understand. Like, okay, it exists here. I didn't went to the moon and back to bring this technique. I just focusing only in this. This is the difference.
does it take a long time to understand? Some people cannot get it, I guess.
Some people cannot get it.
Yeah.
Some people telling me that I lost my mind.
Right. What your
Like-
family tells you about this?
It's
Your kids, you have-
middle-age crisis. They're
What-
telling me.
Your middle-age crisis, right?
Yeah.
Your husband
My
is
family is very supportive.
and your husband is a plastic guy. 30
Yeah.
years in plastic. He's a technical. He knows plastic very, very well. What does he think about it? I mean, after he sees it, like, he's right there making it, right? What does he think?
He's very excited.
He's very
like
excited.
It's working like this. I'm coming with the ideas.
Yeah.
I'm going to him, and he starts scratching his mind.
He's like, what does she want now?
How do we do this?
Yeah,
And then he find a solution
right.
because he have so many years of experience
And
and,
what other-
so much knowledge. He find a solution.
And other people in the plastic industry, they know about it. What do they think? I mean, because this is replacing plastic, but is also like for plastic injection, they're still using the same thing, right?
The same machine,
Yeah,
everything the same.
they still needed to make this one too.
Yeah.
So there's no changing machinery.
No changing
And
of
you s-
machinery, only changing of the raw material.
And you save petrol, right? Because that's how plastic is made.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Wow.
And okay, let me correct, or not correct, but just understand something clearly. This can also replace paper.
Yes.
This material can replace paper. The stone.
The largest
Yes.
paper manufacturing in China is in Dongguan. So I got a contact for you. Okay, guys, we're going to be back with more from Anna, because these two things that she talked about are just two. There's more. All right, guys, and we're back. Now we're going to play our second game of this session. And as you know, it is called What's Up With This? So basically what we do is we go through your social media and find a couple of pictures. And, we show them to you. And you give us some context about what's going on in the pictures. So, Ziv, you ready with the pictures?
I'm scared.
You're scared. So I went through your Facebook. All right. And the first one seems quite old, like older than Facebook.
Oh, mine. This is
Are you-
me,
You're there, right?
yes, in primary school. Here.
Primary school.
This is me.
Right.
All
So
white.
where is it? What primary
This is in
school?
Carmiel,
Okay.
Palmach
Palmach.
school.
Okay.
There were 2 primary schools only in Carmiel then.
Okay. Carmiel is in the north, yeah?
Carmiel is
Israel.
in north of
Right,
Israel.
Right. And are you in touch with anyone from this picture still?
Let me put my glasses. I'm 50 years old.
So you're the one in yellow?
No, I'm the one in white.
This one or this one?
This one.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes, you're still in
with
touch
most
some
of them.
Oh, really?
Most of
Sure.
them.
Wow.
This is Simona. This is Anat. This is Shirley. This is Doron.
All right. Hopefully they're
This is
watching. We'll put the
Eitan.
picture on the screen. All right. So this was the first one. Primary school, Anna. Okay.
Cool.
Second one is right here.
Oh, this is Shy graduation.
So your daughter,
My daughter graduation,
where?
bachelor, New York University in Prague.
So New York University in Prague. This is something, yeah, your kids, they...
University of New York in
University
Prague.
of New York in Prague. Your
Yeah.
kids, they study in Prague.
All of them.
All of them. Oh, how come?
That's an interesting.
Yeah. Why?
Well, it started with Amit. He chose the first university because Yossi graduated in Thailand.
Okay. That's your first son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Amit chose, he started in England, but then he moved to Prague, to University of New York in Prague. Shai, between Amit and Shai, there is 1 year only. So Shai came to me and told me, I know where I'm going to university. So I asked her where. She said, Spain, Barcelona. What you going to study? I don't know. Why you choose Spain, Barcelona? The best nightlife for students.
Best nightlife.
Said, okay, you're not going there. But she wanted to leave home. So she followed Amit there. My youngest one graduated when he was 16 and a half years old only from high school.
Here, the one that he studied in Dongguan.
Yeah.
Right.
So we decided that, yes, we will allow him to go to university, but he had to have a family member in the place. He wanted to go to the States,
Okay.
but in the States I don't have family. So at the end, he compromised and had to go to the same university as his brother. And I'm
Right.
going there, like every year I'm going there, and they say, oh, another graduation.
Right, right. So now they're all off. The youngest one in university, and
Yeah.
just to make it just a little bit longer, how as a mom of 4, right, and you are not really a stay-at-home mom so much. How do you prepare? How do you kids to go to university? You have 4 kids. It's a lot.
Yeah,
Is this a lot of pressure during life? Thinking about that
a lot,
a lot.
a lot.
So some of
And
your
I think this is my biggest achievement in life, my
Yeah.
kids. Like from everything I done in life, to
The
raise
kids.
4 kids, and all of them are educated, all of them stand
even
by
if
themselves.
even if you change the world and stop cutting trees, still your biggest pride would be your kids.
Yes.
That's amazing.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
All right, guys.
All
So that was What's Up with This with Anna. Okay, so Anna, we're going to continue talking about, all the things that you do, which the more we listen, the more fantastic they sound to me. And I have to share with you guys what happened the moment that Anna walked in. She walked in with this. Let me show you. You'll know that we are experiencing, this thing that is happening at the beginning of 2020. And she walked in with this mask. And I was like, what is that? So I don't know anything about this. So I'm going to let you guys talk about this. And I already got one, so...
Yeah, maybe explain what is it and what kind of a mask it is. And
Okay, the idea came from my mother. She is 85 years old, and she was struggling with all these mask things. And she told me one sentence that made me think. She told me, if the virus will not kill me, the mask will kill me. So what does it matter? And then I start thinking, maybe we can do a mask that fits all population, but with adding features for the elderly people and for people that wearing glasses. Because for me, to wear the normal glass and to work,
Yeah, it's
I
always-
cannot. It's
They
always
will-
Really annoying.
foggy.
Fog
And
up,
I
yeah.
need to take the glasses off, or I need to take the mask off, which is happening also when you go with friends. Now, I'm only using reading glasses, but there are many people that
Like me,
using glasses all day. And this is what we did. We started a new development early February for a mask that is made from silicone gel. It's the same material
soft.
used in baby bottles nipples, with a filter that is filtering more than 97% bacteria.
So
We
it's
tested
higher
it.
than N95.
It's higher than N95.
Wow.
We tested it in Nelson Laboratory for bacteria filtration.
Where is Nelson
rate.
Laboratory?
It's a worldwide laboratory, but we used it in Shenzhen because we cannot travel now anywhere. So we use
you
their
say
branch in
this
Shenzhen.
filter was used through a third company in the US, sold to NASA
Yes.
for the astronaut suits.
Yes.
For the
Yeah.
spacesuits.
Yeah.
Of course, they have hoses for
Yes,
air and
they
whatnot
have-
and oxygen. So this is used in NASA spacesuits.
So this is again, it's I know you don't like the word, but sustainability, responsibility for sure. Like you said, how you came up with that, right? Responsibility for the elderly, but sustainability because it's not disposable.
It's not disposable.
That's one of the things that was really most interesting about it. This one you can wear, I don't know, months, years.
Months and years, you can store it. We made a package that you can store it in your closet. It doesn't take space.
And
You can easily
wash
clean
it.
it.
Yeah, you can wash it,
You
disinfect
can wash it,
alcohol.
disinfect it with alcohol, or boil it. You can throw it in
And-
boiling water and
And you
nothing
just-
happens to it.
And I guess you just change the filter,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
And
so-
the filter also lasts longer than your regular...
the normal filter.
Yeah.
so you
Because
open this
what
and
is
you change the
happening
filter.
now in the world actually with the one-time use disposable masks, everything is going to garbage at the end. And you cannot recycle it.
Yeah,
You
because
can-
it's
because of the
toxic
virus.
waste.
All
Yes.
right, it's toxic.
Yes.
So
How
this,
many
this
billions
filter,
now? Yeah.
Sorry, this filter lasts how long?
1 week.
1 week. So then it's a matter of, look, this.
But I guess the 1 week, it depends how much you use it.
I think after 3 to 4 days, I will replace it.
Mhm.
Right.
But it can last up to 1 week if you
Right.
don't use
I mean,
the
this is
mask
another
in-
thing with the mask. And nobody really knows how often to change it. Everybody
Yeah.
talking about it.
I would suggest 3 to 4 days, change the filter.
We've been doing something that to you looks a little bit crazy, like changing mask and you put it, I put it, but none of us has it. We know for sure we stayed here, we will keep it healthy. So this is what we're doing this. We all know this about each other.
So this is now,
It's a new product
right, it's a new
that's
product that
going
is
now to the market.
going to the market, maybe in the US, Europe, other places, Australia.
Everywhere
right?
it can help.
Right.
Like the selling point is not to make money. The selling point is really to help people.
Right. Right.
The straps.
And it sounds strange, like people will think, but also based on what happened in the last months, and I saw many pictures, and
You said you donated
we donated 5,000 to Israel.
to Israel.
Yeah,
Right.
for an elderly house and for an organization that takes care of autism,
So this one
kids
doesn't have a valve.
no valve.
The valve, well, it doesn't block as much as the filter.
No
Okay, so the microns and particles, they would go through the valve, but not through the filter.
And the fitting is based on suction. So it's fit perfectly the face, any type of face.
And
Because when you breathe,
the breathing is very easy.
the breathing is very easily.
Wow. Okay, but we didn't want to. There's so much more to talk with Anna, guys. So this you'll be hearing more about this in future episodes of future videos. But let's continue talking about the next topic.
Yeah. So we were talking a little bit before about the scrap, the circular economy, making fashion, making shoes from scrap. Maybe explain us a little bit more with your brand, Roxan, right? How do you do that? What's the process? Like we talked before about where do you get it, the scrap, right? We say you're getting it from tanneries. You're getting it from, tanneries that work with brands. They cut leather, they have scrap. And you probably get it from other places too, because you get different materials, not just leather, right? But okay, so you get the scrap coming in. What do you do then? How do you make stuff from it?
Well, I will start with the brand, okay? Because I really believe in circular economy. So I thought the best way to show the world that it really works is to create my own brand.
Right.
Not to educate existing brands, to start a new brand. And maybe this will help to
Right.
educate
You don't need to
existing
convince
brands.
anyone else, you're controlling it.
Yeah.
Right.
So we created Roxan brand, which we're going to launch, I hope by end of April, beginning of May,
In China.
in China
Right. So you're launching it in China first.
first.
Why?
Because I believe the Chinese population is more aware of sustainability,
Responsibility.
yes,
Yeah. Okay.
than other countries.
Well-
They are more ready to accept it, embrace it.
Is it because there's some already actions, laws, the government has been...
I think so. I think the government here is pushing more through it than
It's
other.
leadership.
Yes.
Right.
It's taking a leadership
Leadership
role in
role.
the world.
Yeah.
In
In this.
sustainability.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In environmental in general.
Right. So you're launching
And China was a very non-environmental country. Like
Yeah.
when I arrived to China, I couldn't see blue skies in Dongguan.
Right.
And today, every day I go out, it's like, wow, it's so nice.
People wouldn't believe that.
Right.
Yeah.
People wouldn't.
You couldn't hear birds.
Yeah.
Before.
There were no birds in 2008.
Right.
Yeah.
They
And
didn't,
now-
they didn't want to be here, I guess. Yeah.
So, but if you think about it, it's a very short time to do
Right.
this change.
It's 10 years.
Right. Right.
And all the other world is talking already 20 years about, okay, we need to do something, and damage is coming. But nothing changed.
No
Right.
action.
No action,
So-
real action.
So you're launching this Roxan. It's a footwear and
Footwear and home accessories.
home accessories brand, fully responsible, sustainable, circular economy.
No scrap.
production.
No scrap.
No waste.
It's made from scrap, right?
from scrap and no waste.
And it doesn't make waste. And I know that during this time you've been developing it, I guess 1 or 2 years already, right?
Yeah.
You got involved in some bigger things that relates to this sustainability in the fashion industry, something called the Fashion Pact.
Yes.
Right. Maybe you can explain us more. What is that, the Fashion Pact?
The Fashion Pact is a group of 50 big brands around the world that is pushing through responsibility
In the fashion industry.
in the fashion industry. The idea is that as a group, you have more power to change things.
Right.
There are 3 actions that now we are working on. Oceans, biodiversity, and climate. We are leading oceans.
When you say we are leading ocean, who's
It's
we?
mean with,
Your company.
yeah,
Okay.
You, basically.
GTS, yeah, me.
GTS, you're the money company of your
Yeah.
brands. Okay. You're
And-
leading the ocean group.
Yeah, and we are pushing through actions that can be done to reduce the single use of plastic. This is the first thing. In packing,
Which is
which we have the solution
Right, right,
on hand actually as a company,
right.
and in to reducing the waste materials that are being thrown in garbage.
Which is also something we've been
That
talking
you're working
about.
on.
So this is a serious thing. This Fashion Pact, right? It's backed by the United
By the
Nations,
United Nations.
and the meetings are where?
And
They're
G7,
in G7,
yes.
right? So
The meeting are in France, usually, in
and you've been there in
Caring.
meetings.
Yes.
How
Yeah.
often do you guys meet? And
It was supposed to be twice a year, but now because of the situation
Right.
in the world,
yeah,
we
it's
don't
got
know
been
when.
delayed.
Yeah,
We're trying now to push some actions to help other countries in the same situation, like
Right.
of the fighting the COVID-19
Right.
Mm-hmm.
from the fashion industry. We got the butterfly mark.
yeah. What is
What
the
is that?
butterfly mark?
The butterfly mark, there is an organization of positive luxury brands that, again, working through sustainability, responsibility.
So it relates to
They-
many things, not just recyclable materials, human rights, all of those things.
It's all together.
Right.
And then they check your company, they check what you did and what you're doing and all the certificates and everything on the products itself, human rights. And I'm happy to say we got the butterfly mark.
Your company.
Yes.
Wow.
So you can how every year companies get it or what do they?
Every
You
year
get
there is
nominee?
assessment.
Okay.
And part of the people that assess the company is people that work in UN, in environmental,
So you're
department.
audited every year.
yes.
So you can be removed from.
You can be removed if you're not continuing based on the standard or what you declare and what you're doing.
Are there any other companies in China that have got the butterfly mark?
Not that I know.
Not okay.
We
Not
are
to
the
your
only
knowledge.
one for now.
Even
There
with
is
the-
no Chinese brand that got the butterfly mark.
from the fashion pact.
Swarovski have the butterfly mark.
Mm-hmm. Swarovski.
Um,
So companies that have
Louis
maybe
Vuitton.
they have operations in China, but they are not Chinese companies
Mm-hmm.
like you, right? Also, the Fashion Pact. Are you not the only Chinese company?
I'm the only Chinese company member. There is one company in Hong Kong that is dealing more with media and it's more like trading company in the industry. So they are also members.
Right.
But as a supplier, 49 of the members are brands.
And you're the
And we are the only supplier.
wow.
Like we are coming from the other side of the...
You mean this is with
Mirror.
GTS, which is the because you have a few companies, right?
Yes.
So you have GTS. And
GTS is the plastic. Global Tooling Service is the plastic
it's
company.
the plastic company,
Which has an engineering office in Czech Republic.
right?
And then Grinvald Footwear is the footwear company
Which under that you have
that
Roxan.
own Roxan brand.
Right. That's interesting.
You when we were doing the preparation, you also talked about SEDEX.
Right.
Could you tell us exactly what SEDEX is and why it's important?
SEDEX is a worldwide organization that auditing companies, brands, and suppliers. And I'm happy to say that we are shortlisted for the best sustainable program for suppliers for 2020.
Wow.
Okay.
And what is the focus for SEDEX?
The focus for SEDEX is more, and this is what I like, because again, sustainability, what is a sustainable product? If the product is made from recycled plastic, but the person that did the product is a 7-year kid, I don't think this product is
You're not
sustainable.
changing society.
Yeah.
So child
So
labor.
SEDEX is fighting and pushing for human rights.
So taking into consideration all these factors.
Yes.
And you've
society.
been nominated.
Yeah.
All right.
So there was supposed to be
The
a
best sustainable. There was
ceremony.
supposed to be a ceremony in March, and it's delayed.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Okay.
didn't got delayed. It's in London.
Right.
Well, but congratulations on all these accomplishments. This is fantastic.
Yeah. So how do you go back to the, you say that you launched this in China, your fashion brand, Roxan, and yeah, you say that you think people are more open here, more open-minded for that.
Yes.
How do you think they will receive it? I mean, who's your clients here in China for something that is fashion, but it's made out of scrap? It's maybe some people, it's a little bit hard to wrap your head around it. What do you think about? Do you think they get the reaction that some people may not want this because it's from scrap, like people that are used to buy Gucci or Prada or those things?
I think yes. I think there is a lot of educating
Okay.
in this. It's what I want for my brand actually is to build a community. I don't want to be Gucci or Prada.
Okay.
I want to have people behind me, my customers, that believe
Right.
in these things.
A movement.
A movement. Like we are willing to collect the shoes back and give discount on the next pair because we can
use
recycle
it.
this again.
So
Yeah.
they are helping the environment
So,
further.
Yeah.
Right.
And the quality is the same.
Okay.
So we don't compromise quality in order to use scrap. We use scrap and produce the same quality as Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and other brands.
This is for all kinds of shoes. So it could also be for sports shoes, like running shoes, hiking shoes,
Yes.
industrial shoes.
Yes,
Applications are
we are focusing now on slides and women flats. But yes, because we had to start from somewhere. Because the process is very long from collecting the materials, the scrap materials. It's different way of design. Like you cannot produce mass production. So I think
Right now.
actually this is something
No, you can
never.
Yeah, you cannot produce mass production because you are depending on the scrap material. It's not like you're ordering whatever material you want.
I'm not ordering 1 meters of leather,
Yeah.
1 yards of denim.
Yeah.
I'm getting what I'm getting, and with this we need to work. So the challenge actually is in the design, because we give the designer, which is my daughter, she studied graphic design as a hobby, and she's working with many companies as a freelance, as a graphic designer, and she's a painter. So we give her to make our designs
okay.
because we want also a unique designs. Many of the designs are her paintings.
Right.
And
So you
this is the challenge actually, because you have
Design.
a piece of leather and you need to create something with it. So we collect the materials, we separate by sizes and colors, Then we decide if it's going to the footwear or to the home accessories. After that, we're sending all the pictures of the materials to the designer. They are coming with designs. We do a prototype. We check how many pairs we can do from the same design. And then from the waste, we do another product.
So this is not like the
normal production.
This is
line.
not like your other extremely environmental friendly solution for the stone plastic that can replace paper, replace card boxes. This cannot replace the shoes in the shoe industry.
No.
Right? Because if they're not made, you don't have the scrap from them, right? So this is more like a solution that
circular economy.
Yeah, so this is a circular economy.
Yes.
It doesn't replace it.
It's not replacing it. And I think as a woman, I wouldn't like to wear a pair of shoes that 1,000 women more wear the same. It's
Right.
make me feel unique.
Right.
That's what I was saying. And there's an element of uniqueness to knowing that there's a very limited number of shoes that look like this or that have this design, and it makes you feel special.
Right.
I call it art. It's the same like paintings. Like you don't have thousands of them. So it's really a more artistic shoes, artistic footwear.
What you told me before the fashion industry is the most polluting industry in the world.
Yes.
What's the most polluting? Because a lot of people don't really know that. We live in China. We live in Dongguan, where a lot of shoes are made, right? Even if you don't work in shoes, you've had friends. You've been to factories. I don't know if you've been, Fernando.
Yeah.
I've been to tanneries. I've seen these things, right?
Yeah.
But people watching, they don't think about it. What needs to happen to create a shoe or all these fashion materials, fashion accessories? What is the most polluting part of it?
The leather, the tanneries.
The tanneries and the denim.
Denim.
The denim.
What do you mean the denim? Like, I
The
don't know
denim-
how they make denim.
The
The
I will
jeans,
tell
you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They collect the cotton. Then the cotton go to washing, and I also don't know exactly the process.
Right.
But in one point, it's go for coloring.
Right.
And the coloring
Yeah.
is the most polluting.
A coloring.
Yes.
It's
So
the
you
same with
don't
the
use it?
tanneries. It's the same with the tanneries
The
because
same with the
coloring the
tanneries,
leather.
the
Yeah.
chemicals and everything.
And that's another thing you told me before, because you kept this, you collect the scrap. You could still paint it, color it to something according to the design, but you don't do that.
We don't do that.
You don't do that. You just work with what you have.
Yes.
And even when you print,
We print with environmental friendly colors.
right,
We don't use
So it's-
any chemicals during the process.
it's really a full.
The plastic is recycled. The leather is from scrap. And we don't use anything. If we use denim, it's from scrap.
Right,
If we use fabric, it's from scrap.
right.
this is just one of the most interesting talks we've had so far in our
What is your end?
podcast.
What's your end goal? What's like? Is there an end, or just there is no end to that? Like, to being successful more in implementing your solutions.
I think my goal now is to get awareness of people.
Awareness.
To build a community, a strong community in China that can get a movement all over the world.
All right. And well, in that sense, we hope that we have been an important part of that awareness that you want to reach. We really, really want to thank you for taking the time. You must be a very busy person from all the things that you mentioned here. So we really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us and to share all the things that you do, all the important things that you do for the world, the environment, and the industries here in our, of course, China podcast. Zip, do you have any closing?
No, I think that I've known Anna for a long time, and in recent years I've learned more in what she's doing. And like as you feel today, you didn't know her before, and it's quite amazing. I really hope we help to raise awareness, and I hope I think you are trying to change the world, and I hope you succeed. Yes.
Yeah,
All right.
Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you very much, guys, for watching. And remember, if you like the content of our channel, make sure to subscribe to it. If you do that, don't forget to hit the bell button to be notified whenever there's a new video out. And remember to follow us in all of our social media posted down here. And until we see you again, this has been, of course,
China.
see you later, guys.
Bye-bye.